Visualize this. You're sitting in front of your computer, just doing the usual, when you, out of sheer boredom, decide to finally play that one game that's just been collecting dust in your backlog. The game has a good reputation and is being praised by everyone and their mother. You finally try it out and then nothing. It just doesn't click. You're already bored an hour into the game and decide to just stop playing. Without giving it a real chance, you just decide that the game isn't for you. Maybe you were in a bad mood, maybe you were distracted during your playtime, or your dopamine receptors may be fried beyond repair, that focusing without constant stimulation becomes impossible. It could have been the best game you've ever played, but you would never know that. You just didn't give it enough time and robbed yourself of a potentially amazing experience. That's why you should give games a second chance. And now some of you may be naively asking, but Fish, what's the point of retrying a game I already know what it's like? And that's a fair point. But listen, look and listen and learn. Just because you didn't enjoy yourself the first time around doesn't necessarily mean the game isn't for you. Let me break it down for you. How you are feeling at the time of trying a new game directly dictates your opinion of it. For example, if you had a shit day and were in a bad mood, that would affect your enjoyment of whatever you're doing. You get impatient, you get angry at every little thing, you start skipping cutscenes, don't read the tutorials, and then get frustrated when you don't understand the game, deciding that it's just a bad one. Were you in a better mood, you would have devoted proper time to learn the mechanics and follow the story. This is the absolute worst time to be trying a new game. You'll just sour your experience with the bitterness of your mood. Most people play games to relax and unwind, and obviously that's fine, but I think that trying out a whole new game when you're already stressed and tired is a bad idea. You'll hardly focus and retain any information most of the time. Have you ever watched a movie when being really sick or being mentally exhausted? If you have, then you would know how little you actually remember and how much the experience is affected by your mental state in the moment. It is the exact same way with games. I've dropped countless of them because I chose to play them when I was sick and tired, just ruining my experience and never returning to those games. But I know for a fact that if I did return to them, my opinion of the game could have changed. You need to choose the right time to start a fresh game. Just because you had a bad day at work doesn't mean you have to take it out on them. Another example is about your expectations. If they're too high, you're bound to be disappointed, but if they're too low, you're already going in with skepticism and actively trying to find faults in the game. That's why going in blind is the absolute best thing you can do when starting any new game. When you interact with the game before you even played it, be it reviews or just gameplay, not only do you spoil for yourself, but you also subconsciously adopt the opinions of the people you're watching. I remember when people were talking about Red Dead 2 and everybody who reviewed it was talking about how slow it starts, how it goes from bad to peak, how they almost quit at an intro, which I find so retarded, by the way. For me, the intro was like digging through gold to get to the diamonds. It isn't as good as the later parts, but in no way is it bad. Anyway, people were consuming that information even before they played the game, which made them more wary of it. It even hindered some people from actually trying the game. And that's just unfortunate, since you can miss out on an absolute cinema of a game. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. If your first impressions are from other people's point of view, it's hard not to think about it when you yourself try out the game for the first time. Of course, this also works the other way around. If everybody is glazing the game, you expect it to be too good. It can fall far from expectations, even if it's a good one. What I mean to say with all of this is that your emotions and your mindset play a big ass role in your enjoyment of any game. This has happened to me so many times. I dropped more games than I can count, thinking they were boring and mediocre, but when I gave them a second chance, and this is hard to do, it's much easier to keep playing new ones or replay the old ones you like. Anyway, when I tried them again, I realized just what I've been missing out on. I got bored of Monster Hunter World because of the grind, gave it another chance, and now I have over 100 hours on it. Just like many others, I quit Red Dead 2 after the first chapter, tried it again years later, and it became one of my favorite games ever made. I got bored in the beginning of Persona 5, and that sure changed. And I never expected to like a game like Crusader Kings 3. I gave up on it many times, and now it's one of my most played games on Steam. And I would never have known all of this if not for the power of second chances. Obviously, you're not gonna find the game to be a 10 out of 10 each time. Sometimes you will still dislike the game. I've tried Hollow Knight so many times and I still don't understand why it's so popular. I found Ultra Kill ultra boring, and I even tried it a few months later, still didn't like it. But at least I know for certain that I disliked them. I gave them a real chance. It won't always be the best case scenario, but there's no way to know if you just don't go for it. And in my opinion, the results outweigh the costs. Like I said though, it is very difficult to retry games that you already decided are not for you, especially the games that start off slow. I've mentioned Red Dead 2, but other games like Witcher 3 and basically all the Persona games have a very slow start. They take a while before letting you access the main world and features, and these kind of games can be the hardest ones to properly try out. They don't give you instant hits of dopamine, instead they require patience to deliver the best experience. But if you do choose to wait and see, you may be rewarded with the best gaming experience of your life. In conclusion, try new games when you feel the absolute best. Stop listening to the bald man and just go in blind. Play whatever you think looks cool and just form your own opinion on it. And lastly, stick with the games a little bit longer to see the full extent of what they offer. If you follow all these steps, I guarantee you'll start enjoying what you once found boring. And if you don't, well, then you can be sure that the game simply wasn't for you and just move on to something else. And for people who get bored with every game they try, maybe it's not the games, maybe you're just generally bored of playing and should just take a break from them. Get some other hobbies too, maybe you're just bored of this one. With that said, peace out.